It was the kind of night when the cold didn't just creep under your skin. It wrapped itself around your bones and refused to let go. The streetlights flickered above the lonely bus stop, their weak glow painting the cracked pavement in shades of golden shadow. Cars passed by now and then, but no one stopped. And on that bench, curled up with her knees pulled tightly against her chest, sat a girl who looked too young to be carrying the weight of the world. Her jacket was thin, her shoes worn, and her eyes, oh her eyes, were the kind that made strangers want to look away because they told a story no one wanted to hear. She had nothing. Not even a destination, just the hope that maybe tomorrow would be kinder. And here is where I want you to pause and ask yourself, have you ever seen someone like her? Maybe you walked by them, maybe you thought of helping, or maybe you convinced yourself they'd be okay. But tonight, under the flickering light of that bus stop, something extraordinary was about to happen. Something that would change not only her life but the life of a little child who had just arrived with his tiny voice trembling in the night. The girl's name was Aria. She was 19, though her fragile figure and hollow cheeks made her seem even younger. She had run away from home 3 months ago after the fights had become unbearable. Her stepfather's shouting, her mother's silence, and the constant feeling of being unwanted. She tried finding work, but with no diploma and no family to support her, she drifted. Nights like these she spent at bus stops or under bridges, wishing for warmth, wishing for a reason to keep going. That night, as she hugged herself tighter, a small hand tugged at the edge of her sleeve. She flinched at the sudden touch, her heart leaping in her chest. When she looked down, her breath caught. A little boy no older than 6 stood before her. His hair was messy, his clothes slightly too big, and his eyes, large, innocent, filled with something she couldn't name, were locked on her. "Miss," he whispered, his voice soft but steady. Can you be my mommy?" The words hit Aria like a storm. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She looked around, half expecting a frantic parent to rush over, but the street was empty. Only the echo of distant traffic answered. "I'm sorry," she finally managed, her voice trembling. "Where's your mommy? Did you lose her?" The boy shook his head slowly. "She's gone, Daddy. He doesn't want me anymore. He told me to wait here for a bus. But I've been waiting a long time." Tears burned Aria's eyes before she could stop them. She knew abandonment, she had lived it, tasted it. But to see it etched in the tiny shoulders of a child was unbearable. She reached out, hesitantly brushing his arm, half afraid he might vanish like a dream. "What's your name?" she asked gently. He whispered, and in that moment something inside Aria shifted. For months she had believed she had nothing, that she herself was a burden. But now, staring at this fragile boy who looked at her as if she were the last star in a dark sky, she realized she still had one thing left, the ability to give love. But love wasn't enough to survive, not when they had no food, no home, no safety. The night stretched ahead of them with all its dangers. Aria faced her first choice. Walk away, leave the boy for someone else to find, or take his hand and step into a life of responsibility she wasn't sure she could handle. She chose his hand. Together they wandered the city. They searched for shelter, but the nearest one was full. They tried knocking at a church, but the doors were locked. Hunger gnawed at them both until Aria spent the last crumpled dollar in her pocket on a single sandwich, splitting it in half and giving Eli the bigger piece. He smiled, crumbs on his lips, and whispered, "Thank you, Mommy." That single word filled her empty stomach with something far richer than food. Still, reality was merciless. Days blurred into nights and they battled the cold, the stares of strangers, and the looming fear that someone would take Eli away from her. But each challenge forced Aria to grow stronger. She found odd jobs, sweeping a diner's floor in exchange for leftover meals, washing dishes just to earn a few coins. She shielded Eli from the harshness of the world, always telling him bedtime stories, always reminding him that he was loved, even when she had nothing else to give. The turning point came one morning when a social worker spotted them at the bus stop, the very same one where Eli had first spoken those life-changing words. The woman approached cautiously, asking questions, offering help. Aria's heart raced. She feared losing him, feared being deemed unfit. But instead of tearing them apart, the social worker saw something rare. Two broken souls who had found healing in each other. With guidance, Aria was placed in a support program. She was given a chance to finish school, a safe place to stay, and most importantly, legal guardianship of Eli. It wasn't easy. There were papers, court visits, endless doubts. But through it all, Aria held Eli's hand and he never stopped whispering, "You're my mommy." Years passed. Aria grew into a woman with strength carved from struggle. Eli grew into a boy who laughed freely, secure in the love she gave him. Together, they built a life from nothing, proving that family isn't defined by blood but by the choice to love and protect. And now, as you listen to this story, maybe sitting comfortably in your room or scrolling through your phone, I ask you this: when life shows you someone shivering at their lowest, will you walk by? Or will you be the hand they need? The whisper of hope they've been waiting for? Because sometimes all it takes is one choice, one act of compassion, to change not just a night but an entire lifetime. Aria thought she had nothing, but when Eli whispered, "Can you be my mommy?" she discovered she had everything she had ever needed: a reason to keep going, a purpose to fight, and the power of love that turns strangers into family.